The battlefield is quiet, but something is still burning. Not the wreckage, not the craters, not the corpses. Deep inside a towering shell of ceramite and steel, a warrior's rage still smolders. His flesh is gone. His bones are shattered. His lungs are machines. But his will is a reactor that never shuts down. The Imperium did not allow him to die. Instead, it built him a prison with legs and called it a miracle. This is the Redemptor Dreadnought, the burning heart of the Primaris Legion.
Welcome back to Brush and Blood, where we paint Warhammer and talk about the war behind the miniatures. Today, I'm painting an Ultramarines Redemptor Dreadnought, a war machine that's equal parts miracle, tragedy, and furnace. As I work on its armor and scorched exhaust vents, we'll dive into how the Redemptor was engineered, why it replaced the old Castroferum Dreadnought, what it does to the heroes entombed inside, and what it means to be the one who burns, so others can live.
Let's get it on!
Lore and engineering, why the Redemptor exists. The Imperium didn't build the Redemptor to be subtle. It built it because the galaxy became too loud. The Primaris Marines needed a heavy support platform that could keep up with their size, speed, and aggression. The old Castroferum pattern, the classic box knot, was reliable, but it was slow, cramped, and never designed for the scale of the new warriors. So the tech priests of Mars, under Guilliman's watchful eye, forged something new, a larger sarcophagus that could house wounded Primaris heroes, heavier actuators for faster strides, a more powerful reactor core for more guns, more armor, more heat, expanded cooling vanes and exhaust that glow like open wounds. The Redemptor is not an upgrade, it's an escalation. Where the Castroferum endures, the Redemptor burns. It moves faster, hits harder, carries heavier weapons, and every second it operates, it's fighting its own power core for control. The cost of power, why it replaced the Castroferum. On paper, the Redemptor is the ideal evolution, more firepower than a standard Dreadnought, greater speed and flexibility. A chassis designed for Primaris physiology, the ability to mount weapons like heavy onslaught Gatling cannons, plasma incinerators, and macro flamers. In practice, it's a walking emergency. The Redemptor's reactor runs at the edge of what its frame can handle. It vents superheated exhaust. Its armor plates warp from internal stress. Its joints scream with strain. Tech Marines love it and fear it in equal measure. The Castroferum is a tomb that slumbers. The Redemptor is a tomb that boils. It replaced the old pattern because the Imperium decided that surviving wasn't enough. It needed something that would suffer to guarantee victory. Between battles, what it feels like inside. Between battles, the Redemptor isn't at peace. Its sarcophagus is filled with cooling gels, pain-dampening fields, and a fog of stims and sacred oils. The pilot is suspended in a half-dream state, not awake, not asleep, floating inside a burning metal coffin. He can feel the thrum of the reactor, the shudder of the armor as it cools, the echo of every wound his broken body ever took. Chaplains call it the Ember Hour, the time when the warrior remembers he is still alive, but no longer truly living. Some pray, some rage, some beg the Emperor for one last battle, because fighting is easier than remembering what they've become. Lore Vignette, Brother Redemptor Cassian, the Furnace of Calth. Brother Redemptor Cassian was wounded during the defense of Calth, bathed in plasma fire that gutted half his body. He should have died. Instead, the Tech Marines sealed him into a Redemptor chassis and sent him back to war. During a later engagement, a tide of word-bearers and demonic filth broke through the Ultramarines' flank. Cassian walked into the breach alone. His plasma incinerator overheated within minutes. His armor was blackened with scorch marks. Warning runes screamed in his vision. He didn't stop. He pushed his reactor past safety limits, burning brighter and hotter, until even the ground beneath him cracked. When the enemy finally fell back, his armor was glowing red. The last thing the apothecaries recorded before he collapsed into shutdown was his vox, whispering, "Calth burned, so do I. Brother Redemptor Helion, the last wall of Talisar." Brother Redemptor Helion held the northern approach to Talisar when the city's outer defenses failed. For 6 straight hours, he fought alone at a choke point on a broken bridge. Macroplasma firing at full burn. Heavy flamer spewing fire down the causeway, armor shrugging off missiles, claws, and psychic storms. By the 3rd hour, his cooling systems had partially failed. By the 4th, his internal temperatures reached levels that should have killed anything human. By the 5th, his armor glowed like a forge. Smoke vented constantly from his joints. By the 6th, enemy forces finally broke and fled. When Tech Marines reached him, Helion was still standing, locked in place. Every alarm was red. Every system was overtaxed. His sarcophagus was fused to the frame. They thought he was dead. Then his vox crackled. Report. Position held. Enemy perspective. The furnace that wouldn't fall. To the enemies of the Imperium, the Redemptor is not a machine. It's a nightmare. Orcs tell stories of the walking burnabox that keeps firing even while wreathed in flames. Chaos cultists whisper of the ash giant, whose eyes glow like reactor cores, and whose steps leave melted footprints. Tyranids simply adapt one more genome note. Do not advance directly. It does not die fast enough. Psychology, the burning coffin. Psychologists, the few that still exist in the Imperium, would call the Redemptor pilot's mind state a blend of chronic pain, dissociation, and compulsive duty. The pilot lives in 3 layers. Layer 1, constant background pain. Layer 2, the rush of battle, where adrenaline and stim floods override everything. Layer 3, the moment after, when the stim drains and the reality of the coffin returns. Some pilots cope by clinging to ritual, repeating oaths, litanies, battle scripture. Others cling to memory, replaying their last moments as a flesh and blood Marine before the sarcophagus closed. A few simply surrender to the machine spirit, letting the Redemptor's rage carry them through each battle like a tide of fire. They don't fight with the machine. They fight as the machine. And every time they wake up from shutdown, they're a little less sure where the man ends and the Dreadnought begins. Tabletop tie-in, the walking furnace on the table. On the tabletop, the Redemptor feels exactly like its lore. Tough enough to anchor a line, mobile enough to matter. Armed with weapons that turn mid-board into a kill zone, give it a heavy onslaught Gatling cannon, a macroplasma incinerator, a heavy flamer, and you've basically dropped a walking bonfire in the center of the board. It doesn't snipe. It doesn't hide. It claims space and dares anything to come into range. Its weakness? Once it's committed, it's committed. You can't really play a cautious Redemptor. You put it down. You march it forward. You accept that one way or another, it's going to burn. Real-world parallels, burning for the mission. In our world, humans have climbed into machines that weren't safe for them either. Tank crews who stayed in burning hulls to get one more shot. Pilots flying damaged aircraft that shook apart around them. Engineers who tested experimental reactors or engines that injured them just by being near. Submariners in vessels that creaked under pressure, meant for metal, not bone. The Redemptor is that archetype turned up to 11. A hero too valuable to let die, plugged into a machine too dangerous to leave idle. They burn so others don't have to. Here's our finished Redemptor Dreadnought, painted in ultramarine blue, scorched around the vents, ready to stride onto the tabletop. The Redemptor is more than a heavy support choice. It's a symbol of sacrifice without rest, of strength pushed past the limit, of heroes who keep fighting long after their bodies are gone. Fun fact, some chapters pipe battlefield hymns directly into a Redemptor's sarcophagus, not to inspire the warrior, but to distract him from the sound of his own reactor. Next time on Brush and Blood, we leave the furnace and head into the hunt. We'll be painting a Space Wolves Invictor tactical warsuit, a walking gun platform that stalks the battlefield like a lone Fenrisian predator. In disclaimer, this episode is for entertainment and storytelling. Not every detail will match every codex or edition. Question for you. If you had to choose, would you rather be the sniper in a Ballistus, the hammer in a Brutalis, or the burning heart inside a Redemptor? Let me know in the comments, and may your reactors run hot, but never melt the paint.
This time on Brush and Blood.
It's cutting bad. Sensors are flickering.
The icy wastes of Drenholm echo with the footfalls of a lone Invictor tactical warsuit.
Target acquired. Rotary cannon hot.
Contact! Heavy signature dead ahead!
But in the blizzard-strewn ruin, a new predator